Welcome to lovely Boston traffic. Now it's, what, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and there shouldn't be traffic. There always is. Good old Boston Big Dig disaster tunnel fucking nightmare. Did help traffic a little bit, but it used to be all raised highway here. They put it all on the ground. This thing was supposed to cost like $2 billion or something like that, and it ended up costing $8, and it still leaks like a sieve. This is all below the water table. It actually goes, at one point it actually goes underneath the subways. South Station will be above us. They actually had to support South Station with pillars while they put the tunnel underneath it. More time driving around in traffic than you do actually working. About now, I believe we're actually underneath South Station. I don't know what they're doing over the city. Okay, we get a nice little walk-in down, and we got ice. Sight glass is bubbling. So I gotta check that. Check for a leak, but I can only do that once I get all this ice off. Which we're just gonna use a hose and some hot water. If you ever see a tech come in with a torch or a heat gun to melt a piece of ice that's any larger than a small ice cube, kick them out of your building. The only way to get this off is to use hot water, and also that'll let me clean this too. There's a little bit of dust on there, not too bad, but we'll clean it. And if you see them come in with a hammer and a chisel, definitely don't let them through the door. You have no many times. You don't know how many times I've seen somebody pop a hole through one of these coils. Alright, so we'll take this all apart, take the fan blades off, de-ice the whole thing. And the biggest thing also is de-icing the expansion valve side. You don't get all the ice off the expansion valve, it'll screw up your pressures when you go to check them. So I have a sneaking suspicion that this has a leak. This coil isn't bad. This coil is newer than the condensing unit. So this is definitely a replacement. And So yeah, so we'll de-ice all this and see if we have a leak or whatever else we got going on with it. Okay, we got the inside here all de-iced. One of the ways I'm pretty sure it's a leak is you can see the expansion valve here. It's either two issues. It's either a leak or this expansion valve is screwed up. But see how the expansion valve's frosted up halfway through? And even with the frost on the coil, only goes up about, I don't know if you can see my finger in there, right here, about halfway. Usually that's an indication of a leak because the refrigerant is basically instantly vaporizing as it comes through these lines here, and you get a buildup of ice, and the ice will start on the bottom and work its way up. So it was only up about halfway. If this was, say, the temperature turned down too low, or the solenoid not shutting off, or something like that, usually this whole coil will be iced, not just halfway. So let me finish de-icing the rest of this. This de-icing the inside here literally took all of maybe 5-6 minutes or so, taking everything off. Doing it with the hose takes 2 seconds. You just gotta obviously make sure that you clear all your product out from underneath you, so you don't soak your customer's product, because they get pissed when you do that. And the drain line's working nice, so we're good to go there. So let me finish de-icing this. I will put everything back together again. We'll turn this on, and I'll go hook up my gauges.
Okay, I checked everywhere, and the only spot I could find with the sniffer is right there. So, just took a peek at the cap, and it has no sealer or anything in it. So we'll seal this up nice once we get this all set. I checked all positions, and it actually gets worse as you backseat this, so that's going to be my leak. So let's start this up again, take it out of the frost. We'll fill it up to a full column of liquid 407C. Not worried about fractionation or anything, because it didn't, I mean, there's a decent amount of refrigerant in there, just enough to screw up my temperature and I make it ice up. And I haven't had a problem with fractionation with 407, so I'm going to fill this up to a full column of liquid. You can only do that when we have a receiver and an expansion valve. If one or two of those things are missing, you cannot go by a sight glass. So let's fill that up. I'll see if I can get a tripod or something and get a light on there so you guys can see that fill as I charge it. Okay, we're clear. We're going to run in the walk-in. We'll double check the expansion valve, see that there's no ice coming off the other side. And then I can, off camera, I'm going to just double check superheat and all that good stuff just while I'm here. It should be pretty good, but I'll double check that, make sure that's in line, and then we'll seal up that cap. Okay, so here's the expansion valve. And you can see no ice on the outlet. So we're definitely doing good. So I'm just going to take a quick super heat reading and make sure we're in parameters with that, which, like I said, we should be. And then seal it up and call this job done. Okay, just going to seal that up with some juice.
Okay, I just wanted to show you guys these little gems here. This is a newer coil. It's probably maybe 3 years old. Now any the new regulations of all the BS are kind of any walk-in that's manufactured after 2000 something of less than 3,000 square foot needs ECM motors. And an ECM motor is basically an electronically controlled motor. They're electronic motors, and the best part is they cost 10 times as much as a regular motor. And it's like, picture like a giant computer fan motor. Like when you turn the rotor, you can feel the commutator bars and the magnets click each little indentation. It has a little circuit board in it. Now this is down to temp right now. I'm not calling for cooling, so you can see how slow and the fans are running. Now I'm going to put my hand on the bulb of temperature control, and hopefully you'll hear a click. Okay, so we narrowed everything down to the temperature control, and it was just turning on when it wasn't supposed to. Even though I had my hand on it, it's set to cut in at like 40 degrees. Even though I had my hand on it, it would take a good minute before it turned on, and it would turn off right away. So something screwed up in here, and you can see we have 3 wires, and one of these is common, which I believe is 1, and then one of these wires is a set of these contacts is close on temperature rise, and the other set is close on temperature fall. The reason why we have 3 there is because we're not just controlling the solenoid open and close. What we're also doing is controlling the speed of the fan, so that when this satisfies temperature, it'll close one set of contacts here, which will tell the fans to slow down, and then when it warms up to call for cooling, it'll close another set of contacts, which will speed the fans up and also open up the expansion valve, or solenoid valve rather. And the one I'm going to replace it with is going to be this Johnson Controls one right here. Then you can see right there it says single pole double throw, and we'll mount it up here, get it all wired in. And like a lot of walk-ins, these fans are wired in with the lights, so I had to go to drop light to see what I'm doing. So let me get this all mounted up, and we'll get this running, and we can actually play with the new control and see the fans speed up and slow down. Okay, so we got the new control in here. You can see that the fans are going relatively slow. We're set up to 100 degrees. Now if you look at this here, you see it says minimum and maximum. That right there is, oh, actually, you know what I gotta do? I don't like that. I had to change that stake on right there. That's the original factory stake on. Looks like a jacket slipped out of the crimp. We put a new one on there. But also make sure everything goes through grommets. Wires are through grommets. We got a rubber grommet under here, so nothing chafes out. But I definitely don't like the way that looks, so I'm gonna change it. Okay, so we're all fixed. Now, as I was saying, this slider here on the side is the differential, and that basically determines the temperature that this cuts in at. So the temperature you have set here is the temperature that this will shut off at. So that's its lowest temp. This little slider here determines the temperature that it'll cut in at. And I think this, if you have it up to max, I think it's like a 7, I think it's like an 8-degree differential is the highest these go, something like that. What I usually do, just in my experience, if the probe isn't in the coil, right about there is pretty good. If the probe is in the coil, this first line works out pretty good. So now we're not calling, obviously, because we're set at 100 degrees. You'll see as I turn this down, you'll hear this click, you'll hear the solenoid open up, and you'll see these fans speed up. Grab it here to make it easier. Right. See how those fans sped up. So you want to maintain, I'm trying to get you out of the airflow here, you want to maintain 36 to 38 degrees. The probe of this is on the back, so usually 35 here is pretty good on the setting with that differential. That should keep my temp. I will double check it, and my probe, it's too dark back here, but my probe is mounted up behind that coil. So we'll just wait until this cycles off, temp everything, and see if I need to adjust it, but otherwise this job is done. Alright, always do yourself a favor. Always double check your pressures just to make sure nothing else is going on with the system. And this unit's 404, and we're pretty much right where we need to be. So we're at 55 on the low, which is about 20 degrees. It's okay for refrigeration temp. It's a little cool out today, so we're not necessarily up to 275 where we want to be, but we're just shy of 250. Plus this unit has a headmaster controlling it. You can see it all the way down the back, so it's regulating the head pressure itself. And my sight glass is nice and clear. Plus it's not very warm in the box. It's maybe 43, 44 in the box right now, so I'm not expecting these pressures to be skyrocketed. So we're definitely in the range of where we want to be. And we'll leave her alone and go on to the next call. How old is this unit? This unit actually was 2010 is the system.